Hello, everyone. I don't know about you, but I'm terrified of black holes. Based on the common understanding, a thing goes in, but it never comes out. For some practical scenarios, we might claim that such a thing ceases to exist as an individual thing, and instead donates its mass to the aggregate that is the black hole. Is there anything else like this in the universe? Well, here's a thought experiment, if you're interested. Suppose you're outside and you have a really bright flashlight. Suppose you shine it at the sky. Some of that bounces around in the atmosphere. But isn't it possible that your flashlight activity results in at least one photon traveling into outer space? Now here's a tricky thought. What if that photon never reaches a destination? That is, not in a year, not in a million years, not in a trillion years, but never lands. This curious photon is, let's say, unlucky enough that its path just so happens to avoid any obstacles for all of eternity. One example of how this might happen is if the photon heads towards a particular galaxy, but the rate of expansion of the universe prevents the photon from ever reaching that galaxy. What are we to think about such escapees? Are they possible? If so, what kind of influence might they have, and how might that influence manifest by way of observation and measurement? One possible argument is that all photons must have endpoints, that a photon won't emit in a direction that doesn't eventually yield a destination, even if that destination is a million years in the future. We might imagine a kind of spooky knowledge across time and distance being responsible for such a constraint. But then, what about the matter we're most familiar with? Such regular matter can be emitted too. Would the same constraint apply? If so, would an observation of galaxies receding into lonely islands of existence provide a counterexample? Perhaps we can artificially prevent such escapees. In the far future, maybe we could build nets and begin sweeping the universe for strays. A challenge with that might be that the universe is big and seems to be getting bigger. So could we ever complete such an activity? From our regular perspective of the scale we're most familiar with, we might point to a black hole and say, that direction is scary. Could we also point to an empty part of the sky between galaxies and say, that direction is scary too? What do you think? Let me know.